You're listening to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, created to help you succeed in your Security Plus certification journey. Learn more at baremetalcyber.com, where additional prepcasts, books, and training materials await. Let's get started. Web filtering and content security aim to reduce the risks posed by web-borne threats while enforcing acceptable use policies within organizations. The Internet is both a critical business tool and a frequent vector for malware, phishing, and data leakage. Filtering ensures users are guided away from malicious or inappropriate sites, while content security enforces controls over the types of data that enter or leave the network through web channels. The goal is not just to block harmful content, but to align browsing behavior with business needs, balancing safety with usability. Hardened organizations design these programs to protect users seamlessly while supporting productivity. URL categorization, reputation scoring, and block/allow lists form the core mechanisms of most web filtering systems. Categorization organizes websites into groups, such as news, social media, or adult content, so that policies can be applied broadly. Reputation scoring assigns risk levels to sites based on observed behavior, such as links to malware campaigns. Block lists deny access to known malicious or prohibited sites, while allow lists ensure trusted destinations remain accessible, even if categories are overly broad. Hardened organizations use these tools together, leveraging categories for scale, reputations for adaptability, and lists for precision control. Filtering can be applied at the client side or at a gateway, each with trade-offs. Client-side filtering, implemented through endpoint agents or browser plugins, follows users wherever they go, including when working remotely. However, it requires software deployment and can be bypassed if poorly managed. Gateway-based filtering, placed at proxies or firewalls, centralizes enforcement and simplifies management, but it only protects traffic that flows through controlled points. Hardened organizations often use a hybrid approach, combining gateway controls for internal traffic with client-side agents for mobile and remote users, ensuring comprehensive coverage. Inline content scanning adds another protective layer by examining traffic in real time for malware or suspicious payloads. Proxy-based enforcement can block or sanitize malicious downloads, apply policy controls to file transfers, and strip risky elements from web pages. This reduces exposure to drive-by downloads and weaponized attachments. Hardened organizations configure inline scanning carefully to minimize latency, focusing on high-risk traffic channels. Proxy-based scanning, while resource-intensive, ensures that policies extend beyond URLs to the content itself, catching threats hidden in otherwise legitimate sites. File type controls and download policies help prevent risky content from entering the environment. For example, organizations may block executable files or scripts from being downloaded entirely, while allowing common formats like PDFs or spreadsheets only after inspection. These rules reduce the likelihood that a user accidentally introduces malware through downloads. Hardened organizations align file controls with business needs, ensuring restrictions do not disrupt workflows while still minimizing unnecessary exposure to dangerous file types. Browser isolation and remote rendering represent strong defenses for high-risk browsing activities. Instead of allowing a user's browser to interact directly with external sites, sessions are rendered in isolated containers or remote environments, with only safe visual output delivered to the endpoint. This prevents malicious scripts from executing locally, effectively air-gapping the user from risky content. Hardened organizations apply isolation selectively, such as for unknown or untrusted sites, balancing protection with performance. Remote rendering protects endpoints even when attackers exploit zero-day browser vulnerabilities, turning risky browsing into a safer experience. Data loss prevention (DLP) integration extends content security to outbound traffic. DLP rules inspect uploads, web forms, or email attachments to prevent sensitive data such as financial information, health records, or intellectual property from leaving the organization. For example, Attempts to upload customer data to unauthorized cloud services can be blocked in real time. Hardened organizations configure DLP and web filtering in tandem, ensuring data security policies apply consistently across web channels, reducing the risk of inadvertent leaks or intentional exfiltration. User-aware policies combine identity, role, and device posture to refine web filtering decisions. Instead of applying blanket rules, filtering systems can adjust based on who is browsing, what their job requires, and whether their device meets security baselines. A system administrator working from a corporate laptop may have broader access than a contractor using a personal device. Hardened organizations enforce these context-driven policies to strike a balance between flexibility and control, ensuring filtering adapts intelligently to user and device context. HTTPS interception provides visibility into encrypted traffic, but it also raises significant privacy and consent considerations. By decrypting traffic at a proxy, organizations can inspect content for malware or sensitive data, then re-encrypt it before delivering it to users. This visibility is powerful but must be governed carefully, especially when dealing with personal communications or regulated industries. Hardened organizations apply HTTPS interception selectively and transparently, documenting policies and ensuring compliance with privacy regulations while still protecting against hidden threats in encrypted flows. Real-time blocking provides immediate protection, but it must be balanced with monitoring-only modes during rollout. Monitoring allows organizations to see how policies would affect users without enforcing them, reducing the risk of unintended disruption. Once confidence grows, blocking can be enabled gradually. Hardened organizations adopt this phased approach, using monitoring data to tune rules and ensure safe deployment. This reduces resistance from users and prevents productivity loss while still moving toward stronger enforcement over time. Logging and reporting are essential to demonstrate the impact of web filtering and content security. Logs capture every blocked attempt, policy violation, and enforcement action, enabling forensic analysis of incidents and identification of misuse trends. Reports provide visibility to managers and executives, showing blocked threats, productivity impacts, and compliance alignment. Hardened organizations feed logs into SIEM platforms for correlation with other data, ensuring that web activity is not analyzed in isolation but as part of the broader security context. Ultimately, content security must be user-friendly, minimally disruptive, and aligned with business objectives. Overly aggressive policies frustrate users and invite workarounds, undermining effectiveness. When designed with care, web filtering protects employees from harmful sites, prevents data leakage, and enforces acceptable use without interrupting productivity. Hardened organizations strike this balance deliberately, ensuring that content security enhances trust, aligns with regulatory obligations, and supports the business mission rather than hindering it. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other prepcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. Cloud-delivered web gateways extend filtering and content security beyond the traditional network perimeter. These services route user web traffic through cloud-based enforcement points, applying the same URL filtering, reputation scoring, and content inspection regardless of where the user is located. For remote or distributed workforces, this ensures consistent protections without forcing all traffic back through corporate networks. Hardened organizations adopt cloud-delivered gateways and CASB solutions to support hybrid work environments, maintaining policy enforcement and visibility even when users operate from home offices, airports, or client sites. Threadfeed integration allows web filtering systems to block newly malicious domains and URLs quickly. Threat actors frequently spin up infrastructure for phishing or malware campaigns, and without live intelligence, traditional filtering lags behind. By subscribing to curated feeds and applying them in near real time, organizations automatically deny access to high-risk sites as they emerge. Hardened organizations validate feeds for quality and relevance, ensuring they avoid false positives that would hinder productivity. This dynamic intelligence keeps content security aligned with the constantly shifting landscape of online threats. Sandboxing unknown downloads provides another powerful layer of defense. When users attempt to download a file not recognized by reputation services, the system can detonate it in an isolated environment. Analysts or automated engines observe the file's behavior, checking for signs of malware such as registry modifications, network callbacks, or code injection. Based on results, the file is either released or blocked, and verdicts feed back into reputation databases for future decisions. Hardened organizations integrate sandboxing into their web security stack, protecting against zero-day or polymorphic threats that bypass signature-based defenses. Adaptive policies take content security further by adjusting enforcement dynamically. Riskier users, such as contractors on unmanaged devices, may face stricter filtering and closer scrutiny. Anomalous sessions, like a sudden surge in data uploads, may trigger higher inspection thresholds. These adaptive rules reflect both context and risk posture, ensuring filtering flexes intelligently. Hardened organizations deploy adaptive models to align security with situational factors, ensuring higher protections where exposure is greatest while avoiding blanket restrictions that could hinder low-risk operations. User experience is central to effective web filtering, making safe browsing workflows essential. When access is blocked, users should receive clear notifications explaining why, with options to request overrides or seek administrative approval where appropriate. This transparency builds trust, reduces frustration, and ensures policies are understood rather than perceived as arbitrary. Hardened organizations design override paths carefully, ensuring they remain secure and auditable while supporting business agility. Well-designed user interfaces turn filtering into a collaborative safeguard rather than an invisible obstacle. Measuring effectiveness requires meaningful metrics. These include the number of blocked threats, the ratio of user blocks versus successful override requests, and the time it takes to block newly identified malicious domains. Such metrics provide insight into both security impact and user friction. Hardened organizations monitor these measures regularly, adjusting policies and feeds to maximize threat prevention while minimizing unnecessary disruption. Clear reporting ensures executives and compliance teams see the value of web security controls. False positives remain a persistent challenge. Overly aggressive blocking can impede workflows, prompting users to bypass controls. Tuning policies through whitelists, category exceptions, and risk scoring reduces unnecessary interruptions. Hardened organizations involve business units in tuning decisions, ensuring that filtering aligns with operational needs. Regular policy refinement keeps filtering tools sharp, maintaining credibility and usability alongside protection. BYOD and unmanaged devices require special strategies for web security enforcement. Installing endpoint agents may not be possible on personal hardware, yet risks remain if users access corporate resources. Cloud-delivered gateways, browser-based controls, and reverse proxies provide ways to extend protections without invasive endpoint deployment. Hardened organizations apply tailored controls, balancing user privacy with organizational security, ensuring unmanaged devices do not become blind spots for web-borne threats. Transparency and training ensure that users understand both the purpose and value of web filtering. Policies should be communicated clearly, with examples of how they protect individuals and the organization. Training empowers users to recognize safe browsing habits, interpret block notifications, and request exceptions responsibly. Hardened organizations frame filtering as part of a shared security culture, reducing resistance and encouraging cooperation. Education transforms controls from top-down restrictions into collaborative protections. Retention and privacy safeguards are essential when dealing with web logs and inspected content. Logs often contain sensitive browsing data, creating both regulatory and ethical obligations. Policies must specify how long logs are kept, how they are anonymized where possible, and who has access. Hardened organizations encrypt stored logs, apply role-based access, and comply with frameworks like GDPR to ensure privacy protections are respected. Secure handling of this data preserves both compliance and user trust. Integration with incident response closes the loop for web-borne compromises. If malicious activity is detected, web filtering systems can trigger automated playbooks to isolate the affected host, revoke authentication tokens, or reset compromised sessions. This ensures that detections are not passive but feed directly into coordinated containment. Hardened organizations integrate filtering tools with their SIEMs and SOAR platforms, ensuring web alerts accelerate response across the enterprise. Ultimately, web filtering and content security must balance protection, privacy, and usability. Automated tools block the majority of malicious or inappropriate content, while human-friendly workflows provide flexibility and transparency. Hardened organizations view these systems not as rigid gatekeepers, but as adaptive enablers of secure productivity. When deployed with intelligence and care, content security reduces risk without eroding trust, ensuring safe browsing that aligns with both business and regulatory goals. Thanks for tuning in to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, your trusted source for cybersecurity news and insights. Remember to subscribe at baremetalcyber.com so you never miss an update. And visit cyberauthor.me for best-selling cybersecurity books that equip you with expert knowledge. Until next time, stay secure and stay vigilant.